Hey guys, Haikrazon here with another trophy hunting video. Today we're covering Killer Frequency. It's a murder mystery indie game that honestly I slept on, did not play it until way too late, and honestly I'm making the video now because I don't think it should be slept on. It was way awesome. It's a relatively easy plat, pretty straightforward, especially if you use a guide. Not a big time sink at all, and totally worth it in the end. So let's hop into it. Quick breakdown of what the actual story is, what the gameplay is. We'll talk about some trophies, enjoyment factor, you know how it goes. So Killer Frequency, it's a first-person game. You play as Forrest Nash, and you're a radio broadcaster in a super small podunk town, right? A little bit of backstory, I guess he came from like big network kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe there's more lore around the game that I didn't get to see from that, but you get that from the exchanges with the characters in the game. And comes to this town. It's got like 1,000 people in it, and they got their own little Scream-ish horror story where the town had a serial killer a billion years ago, and then every same day from that original event is called like that day, and like there's always teenagers that dress up as the killer, and stuff like that. Typical horror movie tropes, which for me that's like already eating it up, right? But it's cool. You start off just doing a silly radio broadcast late night show, and you can play around with all the controls. I'll have footage of it here as well. You can mess with the volume mixer. You can put on records, because this happens back in like the 80s or something like that. You have to play ads through cassette tapes. There's a bunch of cool little things like that you can just interact with, and that you actually have to through the game as well. But as you start your night, you eventually get a call from the 911 dispatcher for the town. People are getting murdered, right? And then she's got to take care of it. She's actually your first person. You have to walk her through being able to survive. Hopefully, you could fail. And then you take over the 911 portion of it, right? And then that's the game, right? All through the night, you have this killer going around reenacting murders and things like that from the original time that it happened, and you're just it's a puzzle game, but through conversation. It's very cool, and the voice acting through the main characters is pretty damn good. The side characters, it's serviceable, it's fun, it's cheesy, it's campy, it's 80s, right? But that's the game. It is a puzzle game. You're trying to use clues that you hear from the people that you're trying to help, to even like maps and things that you have in the broadcast station. There's a lot of really cool, unique situations here. I'll go into a little bit of them more in depth here shortly. But that's the point of the game, right? You're going through, you're trying to save everybody that you can through these phone calls. And it's fun. It's good. Like they're very creative, unique scenarios. Again, the voice acting is great for the most part. In terms of the actual trophy list, typical everyone lives, everyone dies kind of thing, right? And there is a trophy for each situation living, right? So that's kind of where the main playset goes. So on that note, let's actually hop over into the trophy portion of what that actually looks like. So in general, guides have it listed at about 10 hours. That's with 3 playthroughs. 3 playthroughs is recommended because it is a genuinely fun game. You would want to, maybe, depending on who you are, right? You would want to do a totally blind playthrough, right? Just to see if you can get the puzzles on your own, see what makes sense, see what doesn't make sense, and then you have your legit playthrough where you have all the answers, you save everybody. You also want to do that quickly. You have to beat it in under 4 hours. I think I had probably about 30 or 40 minutes left, and that was not doing all the tricks to help speed things up, like skipping tutorials and stuff, because I did do it on my first playthrough and I didn't want to have to do it again. So 10 hours with 3 playthroughs. Mine probably took about 8 hours. I'm just going to say 4 hours for each playthrough. A little under though, because again, that speed run does go under 4 as well. A little bit of collectible trophies as well. They're pretty easy to get. I didn't do it on my first playthrough because I was worried about time, but you can collect some extra records. You can play different ad tapes and things like that. But again, like you get to a point where you're not on a time constraint. You can just go grab those things. Super easy. Do it on your second playthrough. You'll be fine. The rest, though, almost every trophy is considered missable, just because it's saving the person. So if you plan on going for the platinum and you are going to do the speed run and have everybody saved in the first play, then I mean you're going to get those. So they are missable, but not if you're going for the platinum, right? So you don't really have to worry about that too much, and then you literally just do another run where everyone dies. And that way is where like it took a little bit of a hit for me in terms of like how much fun I had while I was doing it. Again, it was such a small time investment. It was totally fine. I got it knocked out in like 2 days, I think, between work and things like that. So not bad at all. It's just it's such a dialogue driven game that it's you can't you're not really able to skip things, which is fine. I mean, it's great work that deserves to not be skipped. But when you're literally just trying to do your run on kills, all of the in-between stuff that doesn't matter was a little bit dragging. So I would like have my stuff playing right here, and then I'd be like, I don't know, Googling something or working or doing whatever, right? But it is fun to see all of the situations and scenarios go poorly, right? Some of them are actually really, really sad, and I won't get into which ones, but when you know you're doing something to get the person killed, and then Forrest Nash also, because he's a broadcast person, he's a personality, right? You can always choose dialogue options that like don't matter, they're just flavor, and like you can make him make stupid jokes after somebody gets murdered, which is like it's hilarious, but it's also cheesy. And again, there's one that's really, really sad that I won't get into. If you're an animal lover, just be careful. It's pretty sad. But in general, though, because you can't skip all the in-betweens, and it's weird downtime kind of just waiting for the next one. And again, you can pull up a guide that'll tell you exactly what to answer in what order, especially like on your second playthrough when you're trying to get everybody killed. You can look at the guide that'll say, hey, quickest way to get this person killed. There's some other fun stuff you can do to experiment. But in general, that's your playthrough, right? 10 hours if you're going to do a natural one. Less than 10 hours if you just want to play through with the guide, which is still going to be fun. You're just not going to solve the puzzles on your own, right? Which is totally fine. Or if you love puzzle games, then maybe you'll do both at the same time. Totally cool, right? But on that note, I want to talk about the puzzles, because the trophies, honestly, pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy there. And it's more about the experience on why I don't want this one slept on, right? So it's so cool. Some of them are just like I don't know, think about it, maybe not realistically, but movie realistically, right? Just to give some examples, I'm going to try and not do any spoilers here. But the first encounter, like I mentioned earlier, is the 911 dispatcher. I think I said that you can fail that one. You can, but she doesn't die because she's integral to the story. I guess slight spoiler for the intro. Too late. But she's trying to save one of the officers from the police department. And it gets to a point where she's like, oh God, what weapon should I take? And it's like a baton, a taser, and I don't remember the other thing. It's not like a gun. It's not something that would totally work, right? But I forget the other one. The taser's the right answer. It's a fucking taser, right? Oh, mace. I think mace was the third one. But the killer wears a mask, so that's probably why that would also be a wrong answer. But the taser, yeah, you're going to stun somebody, right? When on the death run, you choose the baton or the mace. I didn't do that, so I don't know the dialogue. But the baton, she hits the dude, but it's just a baton, and he's a serial killer, so he ends up getting the other person, right? So that one, you don't have like a ton to go on. You're just kind of trying to think, okay, in that situation, what's best? You pick what's best. Okay, not too creative, that's fine. Some other scenarios, however, get pretty intense. Somebody will say like they're at this location and their only neighbors are like partying frat neighbors, and you're trying to figure out how you can get a hold of them to go over and help her or just deter the killer, right? So you have to like look around like different food places to see what kind of deals are going on based on like alcohol and winning college games, and to figure out like who that what place was ordered from by those frat dudes, so you can get an order sent out to them with a note saying like, hey, go next door please, or call me or whatever. Like, that one was super cool. There's another one where you have to use this map of the town to understand where the streets are and where your assistant lady, she has some friends in the area, and they're like, oh, well, he lives super close, but he's like really old, so he might not be a good choice, but he lives the closest, or there's a detour on this road, so you got to look at this map, see who's closest, see who's most able, most capable, might have first aid training or something like that. That's a cool one. And the last example I'll give you guys is it's a group of teenagers, typical like horror story goodness, right? And you have to assign each of them roles, which you get information on by seeing like a personality quiz that one of the friends in the friend group did, to be like, oh, most likely to break out of jail, somebody good for picking locks, right? Or most likely to win a triathlon, somebody that's clearly physically in shape and can run, things like that, right? So it's really cool the way that the devs like laid out all of these puzzles and answers to the puzzles. Is really, really, really neat. It was a really fun time. Again, whether or not you're going to use a guide or not, it's still fun. It's still fun to watch it play out, especially if you're into horror movies. Again, because it is pretty campy. So it's a good time. It's a good time. Like I said, easy platinum. 10 hours ish, give or take, a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on how much you want to screw around. Soundtrack is also killer if that's your thing. There's some good 80s synthwave in there, some 80s pop rock. I love that kind of stuff. It's very, very awesome. So totally check it out if you haven't already. Again, quick platinum, definitely not something you want to sleep on. Very high quality game. The main character sounded, I fucking swore it was Chris Parnell. I looked it up. It's not, but like he sounds so much like Chris Parnell in some regards, especially when he did his role in Hot Rod, where he was like a broadcaster. But either way, still a great game, great voice acting, great story, decent plot twist. Solid plot twist. You could see it coming, maybe not a mile away, but maybe like a half mile away, or some amount of kilometers away if you don't use the US system. But either way, yeah, Killer Frequency, it's amazing. Check it out. I really enjoyed the crap out of it. Easy platinum to add to your collection, and like I say in most of my other videos, great breather title, right? If you're putting a lot of time into big 100+ hour plats, JRPGs, Souls games, like whatever you're doing, this is a great breather plat to go in between those, just to kind of refresh yourself a little bit and then hop into something else. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you dig the content, please sub to the channel, check it out, give me some ideas on what other kind of platinum videos you guys want to see, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy. Love you now, bye.